So there was someone who I wouldn't even say was an ex.
Well, the person who did create the TikTok about Ben, obviously that impacted me a lot.
Knowing what I know now, a TikTok like that makes sense.
I did not connect with the person that made the TikTok, and she never reached out to me either.
Someone that was very insignificant in my life. It was a college hookup that never actually ended up being a hookup. It was just a talking phase kind of thing.
There's this girl on TikTok. She doesn't say any names, but she says, like, in Minneapolis, they're filming.
She's crying in it? Yeah.
She's crying. She's basically just saying, like, I'm so sick and tired of, like, reality TV. Like, I think, like, celebrating men and, like, how they treat girls and, like, how they treat others and, like, everything.
Well, the person who did create the TikTok about Ben, obviously that impacted me a lot.
I think it didn't impact our relationship too much. I feel like Sarah kind of knew my heart and knew who I was. And the way it was such a vague statement about me, she was kind of on my side.
Hearing Ben's side of the story, it was 4 years ago at the time. I do believe people can change. I do believe people can evolve. So it was really difficult because I never want to dismiss someone's story and how they feel about someone, but also fell in love with this person through the pods. I thought it was such a beautiful connection. I also didn't want to dismiss my feelings that I had for him at that moment. I felt very conflicted.
But why would she react this way if it was over for you?
That's why I blocked her, because I'm so uncertain to what else she's gonna try and say.
And so I don't think it mattered too much. And, I really appreciate Sarah for kind of, being in my corner for that.
There were so many emotions and feelings going on, but ultimately I didn't want to throw the relationship away that quickly. But ultimately, I knew that there were still a lot of things I needed to learn about Ben. And so it made me a little more concerned in a way, or maybe just observant that there were things maybe going on that I didn't know. I trust very easily, and I don't regret trusting him, but it was very difficult in the time, in the circumstance that we had.
Ben, I love you so much. But I've always wanted a partner to be on the same wavelength.
When Sarah said no at the altar, we had talked about it before that we weren't gonna say yes. So I wasn't super surprised on that. I was surprised for the reason, just because we had talked about social issues and we both had agreed that we were on the same page. And so I was kind of thrown off when she said that that was the reason that she was saying no.
Walking up to the altar, my mind and my heart were in so many different places, but ultimately I knew if I was not 100%, it is not right for me. And so I knew pretty well going into it, walking through the door and then seeing that the door's open and I walked down the aisle, I knew what was right for me.
And I love you so much, and I know I want to stay with you and keep growing our relationship if you'll let me.
We'll see. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also the fact that we agreed to try dating after. And the fact that, I asked her, I'm like, hey, I'd love to, keep this going after. And she straight up just said, we'll see. That was kind of hurtful and embarrassing. And so that was something that, I didn't love. And so that was hurtful.
It's okay to be sad. Yeah. It's okay to cry.
My sister meeting Ben, there definitely was some hesitations.
So Sarah's sister was someone who maybe had some reservations about my views on things because, I go to church and she is gay, and that wasn't something that was an issue for me because I have gay friends and it's, a community that I really am okay with and comfortable around. And so it's something that I don't think really impacted us, but yet meeting her and seeing kind of how Sarah is today, I think she definitely kind of impacted Sarah's mindset on things.
I just want to talk to her. Yeah.
Was it like the time frame?
I mean, I knew the whole time coming into this, the time frame, like that's not, like I feel like I know him, like really.
Yeah.
She was concerned just because of the timeline and not really going through a lot of adversity together in such a short period of time. It grounded me because she's my best friend. She knows everything about me. She cares about me. And I know she has the best interest for me. So definitely hearing her opinion, it did matter.
I'm not sure if it had anything to do with her sexual orientation or anything like that. It was just more of, I think this whole process was a lot for her. So I think she was just being more of a caring sister instead of, seeing the kind of differences in belief systems.
And I took all of that into consideration. But ultimately, my decision was for me, and I made it for me. But I always will take my sister's advice when I ask for it. And for sure in that time, it's such a vulnerable time. I was looking for her for some guidance and her thoughts. But ultimately, she was just a supporter, and I knew she was going to support me no matter what. The most challenging thing about that was, honestly, with mine and Ben's conversations, I just felt like I was always the one initiating it, and there was really no response from him. And so that's why I continued to ask it, because I just felt like I wasn't getting anywhere.
Yeah, our biggest challenge in the relationship, I think, for me was to be open and honest and trying to communicate my feelings towards everything that was important to Sara with social issues and everything, because obviously we see through the time that we were together that we worked on it, and I think she really wanted me to bring it up and talk about it more, but my kind of avoidance strategy was always, keep away from those topics, and if I were to do it over again, I would, have those conversations. So it was definitely difficult for us to kind of overcome those, things that we talked about, and then at the end of the day, it was her that said no for that reason.
I talked a lot about values, which included church and politics and there's a lot of topics there. I have no regrets bringing that up. I think those are important conversations to have.
Something that I wish I had done differently in this experience, probably just bring up, these hard-hitting, maybe conflict causing problems. I was in love with this girl, and I was just scared of losing her if I were to say something wrong. But looking back on it, if I was going to lose her for saying something wrong, then that was meant to be. But I know she just wanted me to really kind of be a person that, brought it up and talked about it. And so that was, something I regret. And if I could go back and do it over again, I would, have those conversations with her early on.
I felt like his responses were either just to agree with me, simply agree, or just no response at all. And I just felt like I wasn't getting anywhere to connect deeper. I wasn't looking for a right or a wrong answer. I wasn't looking for a specific answer. I just wanted to get to know Ben on a deeper level, and we weren't able to get there. And so ultimately, it's not the conversations that were difficult, it was just the conversations I was having with Ben that was difficult.
Looking back, I understand her decision. I think it's, important to have values if you want to have the same exact level of values. But I think we already knew from early on that we had those, little bit difference in, where we were at. And I knew I could get to where she was, and I thought she was okay with me, working my process to get there. But obviously not. So I was hoping that, she would have ended it earlier if she didn't see the future.
No, I will not explore things with Ben anytime in the future.